I guess you just don't have to check them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right,
Yep.
and this is time. Please, she's a children.
Ding.
Yeah. All right, the time is 5:01, and I'll open the December 6th meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. We have 3 applications on the regular agenda for short-term rentals. I think that only one of the applicants is actually here. Is that for you, Mr. Sales?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna skip the other 2 for now and discuss yours, and then move on to the Yellow Road project, and then come back to the 2 where we don't have any public that are or any public or any applicants who are present with us today. So we will go to 12 Susquehanna Avenue. This is an application for a short-term rental, and I believe it is for 1 bedroom rental.
1 bedroom with attached bath.
Okay, and the rest of the house is a single family house.
It's divided half. Upstairs is long-term rental.
I'm sorry, long term.
The upstairs is long-term rental, the rest of the downstairs, yes. The single family house, just myself and my wife.
Okay, so there's no other apartment or home occupation or any other use in the building?
The upstairs is usually the rental, yes.
So it's an apartment,
Right,
okay,
but we're living downstairs.
okay, all right, so I'll have to look at that.
Yeah,
I don't know. Pardon?
apologies.
Okay. So there's a, just like to look through that for a second. It's 17.1.
Mercy.
I don't know, it's-
The one vision, one day.
So the challenge will be, one of the conditions of the short-term rental for new short-term rentals is section 317.1B 1A, which says residential zoning districts, which is what you're in. Short-term rentals shall only be permitted in a single-family dwelling, in single-family dwellings, or in a previously approved accessory apartment with a valid special use permit. I don't know whether the second floor apartment has that or not, but that actually only, the piece about the accessory apartment only applies when you're asking for the short-term rental for the accessory apartment. So I don't believe that you're allowed to have a short-term rental in what's basically a 2-family house. Does anybody else remember?
I remember the same year. People before, there was a gap between when they purchased the house and when the others moved out.
Right.
And try to remember.
Well, in the previous application, there was a different use, but there were not 2 residential uses.
Correct.
Plus the short-term rental.
Right.
So this is different.
But yeah, no, I'm just thinking out loud.
Okay.
I'm not just, I'm just thinking out loud. And that was also, that might have also predated the change.
It did, yeah,
Yeah.
2016.
Mhm.
So I would say that what you're applying for is really not something that we are allowed to consider under the way the law is currently written. The only about 4 years ago, there were many revisions of the law to basically tighten and be much more restrictive of short-term rentals. And this is one of the pieces that changed and has an impact on your property. Because the intent was to try to encourage long-term rentals rather than short-term rentals. I realize that your situation is, wouldn't make a difference in that, but the way that it was rewritten, it says it can only be in single-family dwellings.
Those that currently exist within the building, or within the village rather.
Say it again.
There are a few that do exist within the village, are those kind of grandfathered over as long as they keep their
Right.
registrations?
It's roughly 4 years ago, I think that the law changed, and that was one of the components of change.
Got it.
So, I mean, the only, it says, or in a previously approved accessory apartment with a valid special use permit. If that exists for the second floor unit, then that's the only possible way that, a portion of your house could be rented short term. But you can't have 2 separate units plus a short term rental.
It's kind of like the spirit of the law was, if you're gonna have transient rentals, you have to live with that.
Which is actually what is proposed.
Well, I know, but it's, that was kind of how we were trying to write it, and, so here we are.
Is it possible for the single bedroom with attached bath to be an accessory apartment?
Well, it's, no, because you can't have, I'm not sure you can have an accessory apartment in a 2-family house.
Okay.
Basically, you have, I mean, it's conceivable, I don't remember exactly the details of the accessory apartment.
Right.
But it also says previously approved, well, previously approved doesn't, it's just predates, doesn't say approved before this law changed, just means already established. And, but that's not what he's asking for, he's not asking to rent that second floor unit, he's asking for the second floor apartment, first floor owner's unit, plus the 1-bedroom rental.
The previous application does have 2 rooms for rent. Would that be because they were renting the upstairs apartment?
I don't remember the details, I don't remember.
And
Yeah,
that, of course, that was also before
right,
all the changes.
plus they had, I mean, we didn't realize at the time that they actually had like a child care that was business going on there, so there were other things that fell out the ground.
What, is there anything to be done to work with that or not?
I mean, it has to meet the description that's in the law, and that doesn't. So was the law changed, or how much you kind of were to revise your proposal in a way that did meet the requirements in the law?
Yeah. I'd love to look at it in detail with you, Dan.
Sure,
so we
sure.
can find a proposal.
Now, as far as, can we use that like in the summer for things like that, for a longer term?
Longer term,
Something
absolutely.
like that,
Over 30 days.
Yeah,
Long term, anything over 30 days.
right? The issue is, it's gonna be an alternate between the Airbnb and my mother visiting right? Summer is not what you would cover, that's.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, if there's,
That is just sitting unused.
Right.
yeah, no, I understand that, it's a big housing. Okay,
Let me follow up with you again.
Okay.
all
Thank
right,
you, sir.
Thank you.
thank you. So this is the old one, I'm just saying, anything new to that? Even this application. Okay. All right, so we're gonna jump down to 00 Admiral Road, really address.
Interesting is now until we get it back.
these people,
Right, so they're gonna come back.
are they expected?
I don't even think there will be, and both of these, 1 and 2, are previously approved.
Yeah, I remember
ones
them.
that have expired, so.
Yeah.
And there's no plan changes, we're just gonna reconsider it in the same way it was originally. So we'll jump down to number 5. This is a project, everyone's gotten kind of preliminary information submitted to the, sent to them through email that has been presented, including the responses to the special permit criteria, 16 special permit criteria. So to the, and we haven't talked about this as a board yet, but to the best of my knowledge, there's nothing that's been presented that would have the zoning board that would require variance or anything like that from us, but we've still been asked, because of this preliminary information, this is secret process will be coming up to, what exactly the phrasing was, but that you sent them that one email about just,
Yeah. Develop a recommendation for the Board of Trustees regarding the issuance of a special permit, which addresses.
right. Thanks. But, and then also that we would concur that trustees can act as lead agency, that's really the primary thing. All right, so, do you have a presentation or do you just?
Or no.
Answer questions?
Yes. Actually,
Okay,
for the site plan and preliminary site plan review.
okay. Is it the same document that we got email?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
With a lot more detail in it, so it's really in the site plan. I saw it. I've taken a question.
Oh, you want
Do you want to take a look at the plans for this meeting, or do you want?
well, then just, I mean, I would say they're only the site plan at the most.
Is it very significantly from what we have in that package together?
I think it's- what question?
Conditions. That's going up to the water tank. A little more information under compliments.
You know, and we have somewhere.
So it'll be in the-
Yeah.
So there are two actions.
Like, I was very.
Oh, you said it wasn't.
So here's the entire property. Proposed area is down in this corner.
Yeah.
For the,
Yeah, it's understated. That's what you're. Your job to agree with that. Send it out.
It was not what we had over here.
Absolutely.
Any question?
Yeah.
That road is.
Here.
And where's the road like here?
It's not.
That's all.
Yes.
That's,
Over
Oh, gotcha.
I just need to bring this up. Yeah, okay, all right, so there's that. The water tank, and where's Margaret McGill's other house? Is that here?
Here on the.
Yes, so get up and just get around, is that it?
That's just a garage.
Okay.
With the houses. Monitor review. Existing water tank, proposed water house, water line. And.
Oh, okay, so now here's 28. So
Yeah,
we're out.
Yeah, we're farther down,
Mhm.
there's the 20 property of no.
Okay, and this is where that garage is.
No.
No,
Those
but they're
are
like
farther
here.
down the road.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
The applicant proposes connecting the municipal sewer and water in the corner of the code itself.
Okay.
So this gives you the aerial view with the topography, slope of the hill, the proposed development area. This would be the access up to the water tank that would be part of the project.
Where's the field? Where's there? It's like,
The dump is going to be made.
Yeah.
Farther up, all right.
Wait, hold it on again, I'm geographically challenged.
Okay.
Where's the cemetery? Isn't that on
It's
this?
not,
That's
Um,
down that way.
so
This is basically halfway from Irish Hill up towards where the dump is, and it's like halfway.
no. It's up in Iron Hill. You know, it's sneak away that,
Where the water tower is there.
you can take a right. And you go by the water tower on the right,
Yeah,
keep going to the end, it's kind of dead end.
okay. Is that where the path was?
Yeah, it's like review, so it starts right here, yeah, okay,
Here's the.
okay, now I get it.
So,
Mhm.
no, it says not impact. Okay.
it's not going to interfere with the hiking.
That makes sense, you know that.
And I see something right here, you're gonna provide some parking for those that are gonna use the hiking path?
Yeah, the applicant's considering that, and I was chatting with the board of trustees, it hasn't been firmed up yet. The idea would be that if there's a small parking lot put there for hikers and skiers, we probably would look to the village to dedicate it once the applicant constructs it. For maintenance reasons.
Keep it up there, and we all just.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with you, but. Yeah.
You never know.
So I had two questions when I read the application. One is there's a reference to short and long-term residential use, and it's all rental, right? And it would have to be restricted to 30 days or more rental. It could not be a short.
I don't believe that's an issue. I mean, short term, we're talking maybe a year, long term could be a lot.
Yeah, I mean, just so you understand. You know, the word, when we hear short term, we think, you know, tourists. And
There's no
that's a-
Airbnb or.
Yeah.
But you may just find it a little smoother as you go through this and talk to people that using,
Different verbiage.
yeah.
Our definition of short term is 30 days and under.
Yeah, this is all long term.
Yeah, we're looking, I think a year is like a resident might come in, educational purposes and then move on. Is there,
Call it long term.
okay, long term and maybe extended?
Sure.
Something like that.
Extra.
Thank you. So again, this just shows where the water tank would be placed above access road for the easement for the village to have the right of way to get up there. Just a few proposed things that we have lighting, this is the area we're looking at.
I also had a question about the parking. In the verbiage, it says the requirement of 75 spaces, which I believe is in excess of what the requirement actually is.
It's one per bedroom, isn't it?
3 bedrooms, so for 1 bedroom, you need 1 space, for 2 or more bedroom, you need 2 spaces. So for me, I counted it, I ended up with 56 spaces required.
I would have to look into that.
Okay.
I'm not sure about.
In 24 and 12. You, as far as units, you have 24 apartments proposed, 12 townhomes. And I think we were looking at 2 spaces per
Per unit.
unit.
Yeah, the 1 bedroom ones in the long apartment building are only required by law to have 1. And the 3 bedroom units are only required by law to have 2, but you can exceed the minimum, that's not a problem. But I just wanted you to know that I don't believe that 75 is the requirement, which is what.
Some makes a big difference. You know, I mean, visually. I mean, I got feelings.
I think, like we mentioned, we were looking at 2 per unit.
Yeah, we can
You can take on 1 bedroom ones.
Yes, if you have like a husband and a spouse,
Okay,
and they each have their own vehicle, whether one's working in the hospital and one is.
okay. All right,
was-
As I said.
thought.
okay, so,
Here's a survey plan, site plan for. Surveyed out and.
And I'm sorry, basic question, how many acres is this?
I want to say the total property is about 50.
77.9.
Oh,
57.9, the lot coverage for the project is significantly less than 10%. I want to say it's 1 or 2% of that.
55.9.
Is it 55?
this is just a section that goes on television, yeah, but it actually
Looped around and
moves
go.
around on itself on 28 there, that actually is, it's part of this land, much like the road development, it actually is part of the same.
yeah, where is Ellen,
Pardon?
where's Ellen Bevan's house? She's not great, she's one of these, right? I'm just trying to, again, orient myself.
I don't remember that name.
Whose house?
Ellen Spencer,
I don't know,
she's up the hill. And she came to us to wherever the Clarks were trying to, where they retitled some of their land to her. It was such a pain in the neck for them.
she's an Irish woman, or she's
Yeah.
on 28.
No, she, oh wait, she's on Main Street. Never mind, okay. Main Street, that's different, okay.
The Main Street goes to Irish.
Well, yeah, I know, but it,
So-
I was thinking she was on there.
Sign this coming in the town. Right. That is located here.
What are they?
That will be that is.
I think that that's appropriate here to since.
Emergency access, skated, water tank, service drive, is getting needed, so they will not be
Variances required.
used to us for you.
Or the entrance down here, and that's just not face of residents. Here. The applicant intends on putting in.
Yeah, I have water supply.
You do, yes, yeah. So how this kind of-
So you expect the bulk of the circulation to be in and out of the.
Yes,
That's it.
that is.
If they use that, it's gonna be a fire truck, so hopefully that'll. Let us use. You get balance to here. Well, they have to look at the cleanup office.
That will be.
It's just-
I don't know. if there's scale on the-
But it's-
Well, I'm just saying,
So this is about 90 feet here.
Oh,
But is it the same? Height
Yeah.
and design? Do you know anything about that?
yeah, that's, I mean, that's not, there's no reason that anybody's gonna breach this, okay.
But this also.
No.
It's been engaged at the end,
Yes,
so no. Both of them are engaged?
no.
No, just one emergency.
The emergency access will be gated so people can use it.
About emergencies.
Yeah. So like the fire department would have access to it.
That sounds pretty crazy. Emergencies.
Well, it could be like the kind of thing where a fence you can drive in, but you can't drive out of it,
I don't know.
you know?
It's
I
why,
mean, it's
why
not,
police cars have those round things in
Yeah.
the bumper, it's like, it wants.
Push it open,
Yeah.
and somebody coming out can't get out.
The other thing that we found is you can put up as many signs as you want. People will do what they want to do regardless of signage,
yeah,
unless there's a physical barrier that stops them. That can be moved in the event of emergency.
And the fire department. they work.
Fire department has a universal keys.
okay. That's-
And then same with the access road up, that would be gated, that we don't have to have access.
Well, I don't know how the zoning works, but I have curiosity, why don't they stem the local road when they need the road, why don't they join as a single? Why is-
So why don't these two join together? They don't know.
There was a reason for that.
There was.
Probably topography, right?
I don't remember, but I remember there was a reason for it.
Because I want to say they actually were in some of the preliminary drawings, and then we decided to do different for some reason,
I don't
whether it was. Department of Public Works had asked if we could do that.
Yeah, I thought you were only gave the one going up to the water tank. In which case you could make it in a different spot, but still restrict that access. No, just.
What was in the other drawings?
How tall is that water tower?
I don't think that's be that determined yet. With that,
What was the question?
how tall will the water tower be? I think they're looking more at, the requirements for the development plus supplying the village up in that area.
Okay, I mean, the only reason I ask is that's the height limit, so if it has to go higher than that, then it doesn't go this way.
Right. Need a variance. Sure. The engineer who worked with that, they calculated.
So look at that,
Are we on the?
so is that kind of a future thing, or that's that will be part of the initial project?
Water tower would be.
So is it gonna replace the green trees now, or,
I don't know if it'll replace or be in addition to.
okay,
There was some talk of being able to upgrade and have both.
okay.
I mean, that will happen, but whether or not the Public Works wants to eliminate the one and have just one up there for maintenance and use. I don't know what the age is of that, what's required for how long it'll last.
So it will be maintained by Public Works, the new one?
I believe,
That is a discussion.
Okay. All right, I assume trustees are curious.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, so these are the things that we need to include in any kind of statement that we make regarding this. Assuming that anyone has a follow-up question about what the plan is. Okay, we need to concur with the decision that the Board of Trustees will act as the legal agency. Any what's the term, involved agency needs to kind of agree that one will act as the legal agency. Trustees have to be described as a special use permit. So they're the logical legal agency. And then if we can develop any recommendations regarding the issuance of the special permit, that's really the first phase. So it would address the process for additional reviews required by CBA, and the only one I think that's even more possibility is if with the water tower. Determination whether the application is complete for these reviews, and it's not currently for the zoning board, but it is, I think, a use variance. Or for the, excuse me, special use permit. Whether we need any consultants to evaluate the project. I would just take sure. Right. Yeah. And then our evaluation of the proposed use in consideration of the criteria, especially use permits to the staff. So they filled out that long list of 16 things. As I was looking through it, the only thing that kind of jumped out to me that, what I would suggest is just make sure there's clarity is that question of short-term housing, just say that it's, it has to be rented for 30 days or more. And the issue of parking, as long as they meet the requirement, that's not an issue. The way that I understood the way that I counted the parking requirements and counted the numbers shown, there was a significant increase in spaces. So I just wanted to be clear that the parking is only for the use of the residents and their guests and not their auxiliary parking for the hospital or anything like that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Bring it up now. Shuttle.
allowed that in that zone, so it'd be experience. Would be a.
Just
all the time, okay, so we can go through all these, one by one, if everyone's read them and. Then we don't say we need to do that. Does anyone have any other questions or any other thoughts on what we might, you know, conditions are that we would recommend sharing with the trustees, or recommended to the trustees?
I do not, you know, I mean, the only thing, maybe we should point out to the trustees that we, I mean, I don't think it's a finger breaker, but, you know, there's variance would be required for the height of the water tower.
Right.
That's the only thing to point out to them from our point of view. I think the other boards are going to cover anything else that comes up, anything they can think of.
Okay. Okay. Shouldn't we reference that it's the short term? Just clarify that it's for 30 days or more.
Yeah, yeah,
And the parking is for property
yes,
residents.
yes.
Okay,
So 3 things.
okay,
And well,
Yes,
yeah, yes, but not,
yeah, sure,
right.
but just for the on-site demand. Yep. And is there any objection at all to the trustees acting as lead agency?
No,
Okay. I would recommend we have like one motion that covers it all,
You're right.
and Marcy's gonna do it.
Number of things, we'd be good. No, parking for resident, oh, short term.
Is there any other one?
Okay, I will make a motion that that the ZBA concur with the decision to make Board of Trustees act as lead agency for the project at 00 Averill Road. With the notes that parking will be restricted to residents and guests. And their guests. Not my guests. The height of the water tower. Let's say it made it first. It says it 30 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. If the water tower exceeds 30 feet, I variance will be required. And any rental period will be 30 days or more.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Mash, will you back?
Okay, Marcy made a motion, that, can I see that paper?
She just.
Yeah,
said that sentence.
that the ZBA concurs with the decision to make the Board of Trustees act as lead agency in the development of Averill.
Yeah, it's actually in the secret.
00.
Oh, in the
Secret review.
Sorry.
in the seeker review. With the notes that parking will be restricted to residents and their guests. The height of the water tower, if the height of the water tower exceeds 30 feet, a variance will be required. And any rental period will be 30 days or more.
Any other further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
I vote.
Yes, you do, absolutely.
Okay.
Would you vote?
Yes.
All in favor?
I.
Thank you. Yeah, anytime we have less than 5 people, you're on. In fact, I almost thought maybe you were. I thought you were.
I don't think you're an alternate anymore.
I agree.
I hope they play you.
I'm not.
Thank you very much. So, you just asked me.
Yes, so meetings.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
All right. So now we're gonna go back to the two that we skipped because we didn't have any applicants here. Your files for 94 Chestnut and 10 Glen Avenue.
Yes.
Thanks.
Any issues?
No, I have not received any complaints. I don't have any complaints in the files. And
One of these was quite contentious initially.
I saw.
Oh, yeah, well, that was- Well, it's not so weird.
Application.
Okay.
Property.
The first one we'll look at is 94 Pioneer Street. So number 1 and number 2, 94 Pioneer and 10 Glen Avenue, both were issued permits, I believe, 4 years ago. Or 3 to 4 years ago.
Yeah, 4 years ago.
Okay, so soon after the law came, one of the key elements of the law change regarding short-term rentals was that every permit issued from that point forward had a 3-year term and had to come back every 3 years and go through the same process, including public hearing, and also be subject to a new law if there have been changes. So if we continue to get more and more restricted, that applies every time you renew. Nobody could have guessed that in those 3 years, we would have had COVID, which had a big impact on our short-term rental number of houses and properties that do that. And we would have a really big change in the demand for short-term or like longer than a month, but housing within the village through the full year, not just Streams Park. So both of those have significantly reduce the number of short-term rentals permits that we have. So kind of what the goal with a lot of the changes has been realized not over time by change of ownerships and change of needs and that kind of thing, but by those two developments.
I'm also a new officer that's been struggling to wrap his head around how all of these things come together.
So some of these.
We don't need that.
So some of these, and possibly both of these actually should have been reviewed a year ago.
Yeah.
But again, then we're gonna show the zoning officer, so we're catching up on that. And that's not a deal breaker by any means, but these are possibly the first 2 removals that you've had.
I believe you're on.
Yes. Law change?
Yes.
All right, so both of them appear to be identical to the original application, so we should have let's just make sure. I think that always is problematic for me as a original site plan. As long as we have a layout that shows, parking. Just a little bit, but they only have 3, so and is.
Yeah, we have to make sure.
Okay, oh, that's okay, that helps a lot. Okay, so the entity is, the parking requirement will be 3, 2 for the house, 1 for the 1-bedroom rental.
Well, no, I thought they had 2 bedrooms.
Initially, 2 of our 4. Okay, all right, I thought it was
Yeah.
1 something, okay, from the beginning. All right, so 4 spaces. Says they have ample parking for 45 cars. And I think that it would be really helpful to improve this. Have them improve it or work with them to improve it, whatever. Because it is aerial, so it has scale to it, but just to literally show where 4 spaces are, they can stack the 2 if they need to for the house.
Yep.
If they use one in the garage, it has to meet at least 7 from the requirement and be open and available for parking, not full of boxes or something.
Yep.
So as long as there are 4 spaces, it would be better to improve this since we have a chance now.
And once they have a sketch, a drawing of it, it will be in the file,
Yeah.
so they won't have to do it. Right. Yeah, the public hearing for this one was,
Right.
yeah. So.
There was a public hearing.
Yes,
Every,
oh, yes, I don't think you were on the board yet,
every special permit requires a public hearing.
Oh, I understood.
Yeah.
and this one, the people who came, many people from that block of Pioneer Street were here. And, they felt, strongly that there were no B&Bs on their block, and why do we have to do this? And they, you know, that was the general feeling. I don't know if that sense has changed now. One of the people who was, very passionate about it is now on serves on one of the boards. I forget which one, I don't remember, but, so in other words, somebody became active. I don't know if, public hearing on this now would be, as contentious. Well, it's been there, maybe nobody's noticed, we haven't got any complaints, maybe nobody's noticed, I don't know.
A couple of changes too. So.
Right, I would say, but I mean, at least this time it would be a more informed discussion, because last time it was like, what if?
Well, it was sort of a general, part of it was they didn't want the block to change, but part of it was sort of a general rant about Dreams Park and short-term rentals.
Right.
At that time, there were probably more than twice as many short-term rentals as there currently are.
Yeah.
Within the village, yeah. I mean, and then I would say that my perspective on this was that, well, first of all, the trustees, by virtue of the way they developed the law, allow tourist accommodation or short-term rentals as long as you meet the parking and you go through the permitting process, and there are a lot of checklists. Every property doesn't begin to comply with it, so it already narrows where they can be, but it doesn't exempt Pioneer Street or Delaware Street or any other street. Everybody has the same opportunity, and if there's an appropriate property. Given that on Pioneer Street, this seemed like the most appropriate property because parking is completely behind it. It's back from the road. I mean, the kind of impact on any neighbor was significantly less than it would be in most of the other houses. And the other houses we probably would have, if they had parking, probably would have included those also. But I mean, it was a very good fit to me between the owner's needs and desires and the property layout and size and everything.
Yeah, I think the neighbors were worried about the slippery slope.
Yeah. And I mean, it still may happen, but the whole
Right, and
idea
that's
of short-term rental is, Right. All right, so I think we have all the information, and as long as you kind of work with them to just add even more clarity to that site plan.
Yep.
And so we'll set that public hearing up for 5 o'clock at our January meeting. Whatever the date of that is. It's Tuesday, that's gonna be the 2nd. Or no, 3rd. New Year's is Sunday, I think.
It's the 3rd, yep.
Okay. All right. And then the next one, 10 North Avenue. This was also last.
What's the status of? Oh,
This is
the people on landmark, what's the address of that? Yeah, I love that.
Landers.
Yeah, Landers. The status of that.
I think that has a short term rental.
What is the address?
Is it eight? I mean, it's like,
Well,
well, Landers is the name.
Sorry, man, do you have the tax ID? Then grab that list.
This is number 10.
It's Glen
It's Glen Avenue number 8.
Avenue. I think it's 2 houses down from the.
Oh, it's 2 houses down. Well, bring 6 and 8. But you have a size 7 medium.
It could be next door to this, I
I thought it was next door. See?
Yeah, I think you're right. I was wrong. Yep, it is in that picture. So this is their parking plan.
Yeah.
Which is works.
Yeah, and this is. I mean, this is a one.
This is, yeah, it must be.
Oh, no, that's the end. Here.
Right?
It's not that.
No,
So. Hey.
Yeah, oh, okay, but. And,
yeah, 1 bedroom.
You certainly didn't use too many words to describe a project.
Residential.
You got to interpret
okay,
yourself.
no problem.
Doesn't have, 3, 4 more. This is
Oh, interesting.
I mean,
not good.
Landers would have been grandfathers, so I don't think that they would,
Really, on that property? In that particular?
as long as it was prior to 4 years ago.
Oh, okay, I'm just not remembering. Brenda Bursler, no way.
She would be grandfathered also.
Or no, but she dropped off.
Oh, okay.
Did they move?
I think Brenda, is she the artist, the author rather? Brenda writes, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
She had said that she was very pleased to announce that she was retiring from the hospitality industry.
Okay. All right, so I do the site plan here, if anybody wants to see the parking. And to clarify,
So it's one of my names, so that's here from the house, but this Randy, oh, he's got that.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure what I guess these were parking spaces.
right?
Yeah, those are the
One
ones
for
that
the
they
garage
need
and
2 for the homes. That's
That were two.
And I'm pretty sure the apartment was open. Nothing now, we're still.
Yeah, the tax.
Okay. I've never been in it. Okay. Any questions or any more information that anyone thinks we need to ask for? Okay, so we'll set that up, that public hearing up for January 3rd, immediately following the 94 Pioneer one. And it's possible there'll be another application for a new short-term rental. Yeah, which one?
40 Lake Street. It is right next to the one where Pioneer pretty much, where Chestnut pretty much tees that Red Point's been working on for like 3 years. And there's one house to the east of that.
Oh, yeah.
Big house.
Big
Yeah.
house.
You're kidding, so that's gonna be
A family from.
I mean, I guess. No.
A family going to bought it.
Uh-huh.
And it has I think 5 units and we're looking
Not 5 years, 5 bedrooms. you mean?
5 bedrooms.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Is that what?
One of
Brock's-
which is a mother-in-law apartment.
I was gonna say, when Brock's owned it.
Yep.
They rented out.
That's true.
That whole section. Oh, okay.
So, but
That's the way we usually go.
It is.
they really, you cannot count they need to develop their parking plan, but. So my understanding is that there are multiple short-term rentals operating in the village that do have. Kind of separate apartment structures. Are no longer allowed. We just cannot approve that based on the current
Moving forward.
language of the law.
Once it pre-exists the change of law, as long as they renew every year.
Yeah.
They can renew it and they can sell it and they can renew it. But if they stop for a year or 3 years, whatever,
Right.
then they're subject to the law by Richard at the time.
So is a separate apartment ultimately defined by if they have a separate electrical service and they're billed separately for the utilities? Or it doesn't just if you have more than one kitchen in your house or?
mean, I know the definition of like dwelling talks about cooking facilities,
Yeah.
so.
But people are usually trying to say they have enough of that, not because there's gonna be multiple big houses in the lake that have all what were once upon a time servants quarters that are now pretty well incorporated into the house.
Right.
I'm just curious.
Yeah,
Because I'm like
I
that.
think with the village, not the lake, so we don't have quite.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, some of the state not on the
Right. So I would say that,
Well, is this- does it exist like this right now? Or is it proposed?
That's the existing layout of the interior of the house.
I think they're right.
It's already set up for bathrooms for different
Yeah.
bedrooms.
What it's not showing is that then beyond here is a small kitchenette and another bedroom.
Oh, it doesn't show it.
It doesn't show that on there.
So this isn't it?
He's trying to just illustrate the part of the house that they're trying to rent out. So that's another thing that.
But, and there's nothing that's not shown that would ever constitute another apartment unit or,
That's what I'm saying, is that beyond this, there's a kitchenette and another bedroom.
So it could be another apartment.
It depends on how we're looking at it.
so, well, like if someone has a house right now and they want to change some aspect of it and make it an accessory apartment, there's a process. And it's a special use permit process and it comes to this board.
Yep.
So so in that section that I was reading for Mr. Sale.
Yep.
It says that short-term rental shall only be permitted in single-family dwellings or in a previously approved accessory apartment with a valid special use permit.
Right.
So odds are good that this one doesn't have a valid special use permit.
Right.
When I read that this afternoon, I was thinking it meant, well, I don't even know what the intent was, previously approved. Does that mean previous to the law change or previous to the application for the short-term rental? I would think you'd have to interpret that in the least restrictive way.
Right.
So that would be, if somebody wanted to create an accessory apartment, go through the special permit process, and then go back and, you know, get a special use permit or apply for one for a short-term rental, that would still be in a permitted sequence of events. But I would say in that house, it would be very helpful, and I would ask for the full plan, because sometimes we don't have enough, we just make assumptions about information we don't have, and it's wrong.
Yeah, we should get more information.
Right.
Yeah.
So if when few owners ago, if they actually had one or more apartments within it,
Yeah,
they may have, I don't know what the law was at that time, whether they would have gone through that process or not,
yeah. And,
but
what about, I mean, does, tax assessment have any role in this?
okay. I was gonna ask Cindy that question, because in reality, we could end up easily with a situation where somebody applies for an accessory apartment that actually already exists in order to have a valid special use permit. And even though it already exists, it doesn't meet what something about our requirements in the law, like it might not have adequate parking or
Right.
whatever. So, you know, but it's maybe existed for 30 years and it's been taxed that way for 30 years. So it seems like we may kind of run afoul of our own, you know, that kind of
Yeah.
straightforward reading of our law. So I'm gonna try to contact Cindy to see whether she remembers what the thought process was when we were writing this. Remembers it better than I do, and also, you know, just kind of think through how do we handle those things that should, you know. It seems pretty unfair to kind of declare something that already exists to be. Okay. Any other questions on either of these two applications or the one that we can move on next? The big challenge before you like, when you get that floor plan was, you know, if there's two apartments in there or something like that, then it's a multi-family. Yeah, it's not, you can't have two accessory apartment units. So it is gonna be kind of critical in making sure that it's.
Yeah.
You know, that we fully understand it, and also the parking is a particular challenge for them, because. There's a 2-car garage, as I recall, but.
Yep.
The parking in front of the garage is within the front setback, so you can count that, so. You know, the house, I mean, what they're talking about developing is
Yeah.
down around to the right
Okay,
side.
now, that's not where,
Right on.
Jill lived.
It is right, Jill.
Oh, it is,
Yeah.
okay, because that house is,
It's a big house.
well, it's a big house, but it's also kind of close to the tree. So your parking has to be bigger, yeah, right.
Yeah, there's a lot, it's kind of challenging to drive down, you need to back up or figure out how to turn around,
That was their intent, yeah,
okay?
was to figure out how to have a parking area between the house and the creek that you could turn around.
And are they they know where they are on the kind of other property line, are they too close to?
The property line goes to the other side, creek.
No, I'm saying on the opposite side, with the garage side, they can't put something next to the garage, a parking space. They don't
What's
have,
the question, I'm sorry?
like, wherever the garage is on the left side of the house looking from the street.
Mhm.
Is there room between the end of the garage and this property line to develop another parking space adjacent to the garage?
They intend to develop that area as an access for handicap access. So their long-term plan is to put an access ramp for wheelchair access.
Oh, interesting,
Along
okay.
there. Kind of,
Well, depending on how much space they have, they might be able to accommodate both. It would certainly be, if they only need one space in order to do what they're interested in, that would be a much easier space to access than down a
right,
road, you know. They just have to figure out how to back out of it.
Yeah.
But that's their, they don't know where their property lines are, where trees are and all that.
Yeah.
So,
before allowing them to go too far down the path of determining their parking, though, I guess I need to wrap my head around the meaning of the language of the accessory apartment and see whether or not they can do this at all, or what they would need to do in order to accomplish this.
right, so when you first talked to me about this one, my understanding was that they, like, were they gonna live in the accessory apartment when they rented the house, or
That's
live
what
in
it
the
looks
house
like.
when they rented?
That's what it looks like now, since they're applying for 4 bedrooms, right?
Oh,
It was my initial understanding that it was gonna be the other way around.
oh, they're gonna need 6 spaces.
Yep.
Well, not necessarily 6 spaces. If it's a 1-bedroom accessory apartment, that would require 1.
Right.
If they're gonna rent 4 rooms, that would, so 5. Well, that would be a challenge.
Yeah.
Okay,
And the neighbors don't like this, there's a freaking hotel. I mean, just
But it's-
speaking, you
but
know,
they're living, but the owner's living there. I mean,
I understand what you're saying. Understanding.
And if they do short-term rentals, they have to make sure they understand they've done, they're not coming every weekend. I mean, they're living there. You know, there's,
Yeah, they don't
Short-term
understand that, that's always a sticky wicket.
right, so I guess the clarity I would ask for first is a full floor plan, which shows any level of the house that has habitable space.
Yep.
And how they intend to use it, and particularly clarify if there's more than one accessory apartment.
So
And how many bedrooms they have.
more than one accessory apartment, meaning that is accessory to the primary residence.
Right, I mean,
Or-
I'm versed advised that there's no such thing as a house with 2 accessory apartments, that becomes a multi-family house.
I would think so. I would think so, but you know, that's why I mentioned the tax rolls. I mean, you know, I mean, I imagine there might be a difference between what the way we talk about it and what you guys can tax as over time.
Did do a walkthrough, and it is just main house with a small, like, servants' quarters, or what we could call maybe more like a mother-in-law these days.
You said you
I walked
through it all, okay. But they have them, they have documentation, they just haven't drawn, put on like a sheet, so it'll be the down in the file.
Yeah, I wonder about that. Yeah, all right. I mean, I don't know what, I mean, was Jill, Jill wasn't there. Yeah.
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah,
But that's right when I was,
Okay, because I mean, the people that I'm thinking of
when she dealt with her trees.
was a long, yeah, right, no, was a long time. I mean, in other words, I don't, if a more recent owner, you know, was living in the house and the other part was rented out as an apartment, and we give the price, but if there's no current history of that, then things are open.
Mhm. So do we still allow this? Accessory apartments? Where are you? It's not in the definitions, it used to be in definitions, I thought.
They can.
Accessory apartment, well, this isn't, I mean, this isn't
So this,
the absolute. But there, you know. Dwelling unit.
can you have the online there, is there a definition for accessory apartment?
See,
Is the accessory use?
see it can come, but a form of definitions of accessory apartment unit as amended and. Says. Accessory.
I have accessory dwelling unit, accessory structure, and accessory use, but I don't have accessory apartment.
Yeah, at some point when we were doing this. We defined it, or we redefined it.
I guess what I wondered is
Let's get it.
whether we eliminated family use,
Repealed.
the definition.
Yep. The former definitions of accessory apartment unit as amended and accessory use or structure, which immediately followed this definition, was repealed in November 25th, 19.
Mhm. So,
That's not very helpful.
But an accessory apartment is still a
that's
permitted use, right?
That's what
Permit.
I don't think it is. I
No, well,
don't think
then there's that.
I think that references.
So
the fact that people, they were older. So that explains then the previously approved, we can't today approve an accessory apartment, because I don't think it's a use permit or
Okay.
special permit use anymore.
That's what I use.
That's right.
Well, now what? So get back to this stuff. Go to this.
Yeah, you see it.
Well, I don't know if I have the right, I don't know
You're
if
in
this
the
is
hard line.
right.
So you, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, well, okay, yeah, the accessory uses and structures, accessory, units, 3. My
Oh, okay, all right. They used to be separately listed.
311. R1.
300.
Accessory dwelling units. So, oh, remember we had the whole discussion about ADU.
That's where I've changed that.
That's what it was, we changed the language.
And ADUs, ADUs, can you have a short-term rental in an ADU?
I thought not, but I thought that was why
It was
we,
part of the house, I know you can't do this in freestanding building.
yeah.
That's what you're doing, same yes. Okay, all right, thank you, that's. So that does explain though the reference to the accessory apartment, special use permit. So, yeah, we'll have to, once you have complete clarity as to what they intend and what the existing plan is, then we'll have to figure out if there's a path.
Can an accessory dwelling unit be a primary dwelling unit? I mean, what are we saying here?
I think, I mean, what I don't really remember was like whether an ADU, if it's in the house, whether you can then rent it out.
Yeah.
Or rent out the house and live
I gotta
there.
read all this, yeah, okay, yeah.
It's been too long. So. Okay, if you got that information, and then give me a call if you have any questions about how to apply what they want and figure out whether there's a path along for them to.
Yeah.
Be able to do that. Okay. Moving on to the minutes. Anybody read minutes?
Yeah, yeah, I was okay on this as I got time. Last month,
I just first time.
oh, you did, oh, okay, well, then forget it. Oh, this is when we had Mike Spot, yeah, because we didn't have the,
This is October 4th.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, like it's the time space. We didn't have that, I mean, we didn't have.
Not much more efficient meeting. We've done 32.
Yes, true.
Well, not in the old days.
Usually they're short, but once in a while there's an hour and a half.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to try. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you're gonna love it.
Does this sound boring, or is this anything you think you might have interest in?
It's very interesting.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I mean, I could relate to a couple of, just having a house, buying a house for the first time and yeah. I mean, I have this dilapidated garage and I thought that would be the first thing I'd fix up and live in it. That doesn't happen. So I'm in the front house and just trying to figure out how to do that, not with the intention of renting it out so much, but just and how I would need permits and things like that, so, yeah.
Well, like the hospital is coming for that Apple Road application. Has one of the more complicated applications and bigger developments, but they have 4 different boards that they will have to kind of go through each of their separate kind of review responsibilities and approve it in order for them to be able to get to the final approval. So those are kind of worst case scenarios that happen once in a while. Mostly there, not too many things actually come to this board. I think HPAR, the architecture review board, probably has the longest agenda.
And the most talk, the most I mean, it's all judgment related.
It's
And the vote.
subjective, yeah. That's hard, it's hard, I think.
I do have one thing in my motion. We basically give them a variance for, you have to have one fewer parking spaces, but at the very end, it would lessen the stress for parking space on site. No, it would lessen the stress. The reason, the property being within walking distance to a large employer, walking distance lessens the stress for parking on the street.
Well, I would imagine thinking more was the required parking on the site.
The idea, my thought was that, I mean, I see, let's just talk about this. I mean, the reason we want people to have parking on site is so there's no stress on the street, or less stress on the street, a minimum stress on the street.
And because
Okay.
parking is often very restricted.
Right, yeah, and we just can't have it loaded up with people.
But I'm not saying because it's inadequate, because it's a 2-hour limit, or you can't park in the window, or something.
It's also inadequate. I mean, if you think about it, if people didn't have parking on their property, street parking is inadequate. Okay, so you don't want more stress on the street parking, right? So there's less stress on the street, there's less stress on the site. I mean, I don't care about this site, but I care about my street.
But I think what, not that that verbiage there, but the thought was that there's less need for cars.
There's less direct for parking. How about that? Can you just say that?
But I don't think we can change, because you wrote it down over, you said it last time, right?
I did, I have to go back to my actual.
Okay, all
I
right,
don't mind doing that, just to kind of
okay,
clarify.
okay, all right.
But I think with the other text is.
Okay, all right, all right, wow. Okay.
Is there a motion to approve? This would have to be,
I'll make an emotion.
actually, you weren't here.
No, you can't.
Oh.
You can't play.
I was talking about something else.
Motion, Dave, second?
Oh, I thought I would.
Oh,
Okay, so whatever. I'll second.
Marshall, second, okay. Further discussion? All in favor? Aye, okay, so it passes, right? Thank you, thank you. Well, we hope you're considering agreeing to join us as an
And
alternate.
I'm sorry, what's your name? Beck Brown.
Oh, Beck.
Yeah.
Nice, I'm like saying,
She's on Eagle Street.
oh, okay, which one?
Well, Eagle.
Karen Cadwalader over there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You have to talk about the.
Yeah,
previous owner.
Yeah, I know, I know. Yeah, I know, my house is still referred to by the native people from the 50s.
So this board has 5 members, and for a while, we were fortunate enough to have 1 or 2 alternates. Because one of our members who's gone now won't be back until May. He's in North Carolina, Virginia, Western Virginia, for the winter. So
Alright.
it's sometimes,
Said he'd come my way for me.
I know, he said he was watching.
So he was what?
Well, second.